Hey lovely people of the internet. So today I wanted to do a solo video that I have only done one of and haven't done another one for a while since. So today I wanted to do another Disney films sorted into Hogwarts houses, and today I wanted to do one of my favourite films, and that is The Little Mermaid. I have decided, for the fun of it and to make this video extra long, because that's a good idea, to include characters from the second and third film as well as the first one, just to bulk it out a little bit. So let's get started. First up is the main character herself, Ariel. I took a little while to make my final decision on this one because there was one house I thought that's probably where she goes, but then when I thought about her characteristics, she could actually fall into a couple if you really wanted to. I think she's got the loyal aspects and a little bit of the goofiness that we tend to associate with Hufflepuffs. She's incredibly inquisitive and she loves learning new things, which I think makes her fit into Ravenclaw, but then she definitely has the adventurous spirit and the bravery and the daring of a Gryffindor. So ultimately that is where I have placed her, but you could definitely argue for several different houses. Next up is the main character from the second film. I thought I would do her after Ariel because Melody, her daughter, I think is very similar in the way that you could potentially sort her. So again, I ultimately went for Gryffindor, but yeah, she definitely has aspects of the other two houses for sure. Next, I sorted Prince Erik in my head. I quite instantly decided that he's not a Ravenclaw because he doesn't remember Ariel's face. But ultimately, I did think he is quite brave. Little bit chivalrous, maybe, if you forget the fact that he forgot what Ariel looked like. So I think he probably is a Gryffindor overall. Swiftly on to Ariel's two sidekicks. First up is Flounder, who I definitely think is a Hufflepuff. He is super loyal to Ariel, super cute. He definitely likes fairness, and he definitely has patience because he puts up with all of Ariel's adventures. Now, Sebastian, I almost would have put him in Ravenclaw because I think he does value things like knowledge. But I did actually put him into Hufflepuff in the end because I think Sebastian likes fairness and hard work, and he's incredibly dedicated, and I think that makes him a very good Hufflepuff, in fact. Next, I decided to sort Scuttle. Now, it's kind of an interesting one because ultimately he's not very clever because he doesn't actually get things right. But I decided that because he is so interested in new things and he values knowledge, and it's quite interesting how he does decide what certain human objects actually are, which I thought made him a Ravenclaw ultimately. Next up are the three main villains from the movies. So you've got Ursula, Morgana and Marina Del Rey. And I decided to have a good think about them because I hate to put villains automatically into Slytherin, even if that is where I ultimately decide to sort them. And I thought technically all three villains have the dedication to a task, and ultimately I think they value fairness, even if their idea of fairness is tiny bit warped compared to other people's opinions of fairness. That would put them into Hufflepuff potentially. But I think their ambition ultimately does put all three of them into Slytherin. King Triton was an interesting one for me to sort because I was struggling to classify what his main values are, but I decided that his ideas of loyalty and sticking to the rules and his need for safety ultimately made him fit into Hufflepuff, I think. Grimsby was another interesting one to sort, as again it was difficult to sort of pin down his main values, but I thought his position of advisor to Prince Erik probably made him a Ravenclaw, as he's kind of good at sort of working out a solution. Yeah. Next, I wanted to sort the evil villain sidekicks. So you've got Flotsam and Jetsam and then Undertow from the second one. Again, like the villains, I didn't want to just straight away put them into Slytherin. And so I did consider that they are incredibly loyal to their evil villain, even if their evil villain is possibly a little bit mad. So I thought that was quite Hufflepuff-like, but again, they do have the ambition, and I think that is the core of why they do what they do, so they are ultimately Slytherins, I think. With the servants at the palace, so you've got Carlotta the maid and Chef Louis, they were interesting ones to sort, as again, they are kind of sidelined characters, so you don't always see as much of them to get a full idea of what they value. Carlotta I probably thought was a Hufflepuff because she's quite dedicated and hardworking, and Chef Louis, there's something about him that makes me think Slytherin, and I'm not entirely sure why, but then I did think there is a little bit of Gryffindor because I suppose he's quite daring and in his attempts to try and catch Sebastian. Yeah, difficult ones. Next, I wanted to try to sort some of the other sidekicks and sort of slightly smaller characters from the films. So first up there was Harold the Seahorse, who has a tiny part in the first film, but there is something about his very, very small part that makes me think Hufflepuff. Then you've got Tip and Dash from the second film. Tip, I was thinking possibly a little bit Slytherin because he exaggerated his achievements and there's definitely a motivation behind that. But then I did think there was a bit of Gryffindor because he wants to be a hero and he wants to be brave. Dash, on the other hand, although he wants to be a hero as well, he's quite shy and loyal, and he has some other different traits that I think make him more of a Hufflepuff. Max the sheepdog, the only non-speaking character I think out of all of the ones that I have sorted, something about him strikes me as Hufflepuff. Basically he's loyal, which I suppose is to be expected because he's a dog, but yeah, Hufflepuff. And then lastly out of those you've got the Catfish Club Band, which I decided to group together because they don't all have huge parts and it's quite difficult to sort them individually. But I thought because they were quite daring in having this secret music club that was banned, I thought they were probably Gryffindors ultimately because that is quite daring and brave. And then very lastly, I decided to have a go at sorting Ariel's sisters. Kind of had to use a mix of different bits from the films to try and sort them, and also had to sneak a little bit of the knowledge that we get from the TV series, but I thought I couldn't leave them out because they are quite important characters ultimately. So first up, Atina, the oldest one, I thought was probably a Ravenclaw because she's a little bit bossy and she is a bit of a bookworm. Alana, I thought Hufflepuff as ultimately she's quite a shy character, she's not too adventurous. Adela, I thought Gryffindor as she can be quite brave, a bit like Ariel. Aquata, I thought Hufflepuff as she seems to value sort of like loyalty from her other sisters. Arista, I also thought Hufflepuff because she does quite like following the rules and she's quite dedicated to sort of that attitude, a bit like King Triton I think. And Andrina, I thought Gryffindor because she's quite adventurous. So that wraps up the characters from The Little Mermaid that I have sorted. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of how I sorted the characters and how you would have personally sorted them, if it was different or the same. If you enjoyed this video, let me know another Disney film that you would like me to sort the characters off, if you're interested in that for any reason. If you enjoyed it, do also hit that thumbs up button. And subscribe if you haven't already. I'll put some videos here that you may be interested in if you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in my next one. See ya!